Oh, and down he goes! Right hand, left hand, and I don't think he's going to get up. I think it's all over. I think it's over. Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does. Oh my goodness! Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
If you haven't already, please also subscribe to us on Apple, Spreaker and Spotify. Just type in Brawl Boxing and you'll find us there. Thank you.
Hello folks and welcome back to the Brawl Boxing podcast. I'm Kieran McCourt and I'm joined by co-hosts Colin McGuigan and Ram McLaughlin. I just want to start by giving a shout out to our amazing sponsor CBD Uplift. They provide the best CBD products on the market, including oil, gummies and capsules. I've actually tried the products myself and I can genuinely say they're the best CBD I've ever had, especially the gummies. I'd seriously recommend anyone. If you use our discount code BRAWL20, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So thanks a million, lads.
Thanks for that, McCourt. Big thanks to Wow Hydrate, who've sponsored the podcast. They've provided me and the lads with some of their protein and vitamin waters, along with their electrolyte drinks, which are the best on the market. Thanks for your continued support. We really appreciate it. Well, guys, this week we're delighted to announce joining us is the European super middleweight champion, Lerrone Richards. Lerrone, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. How you boys doing?
Yeah, all good. Thanks for coming on, mate.
No, it's a pleasure.
Lerrone, before we get into all the boxing chat, you're a big Wimbledon fan, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm speaking to you so soon after I played for Rochdale and you just got us relegated. So it's a bit of a touchy subject at the minute. So I might have to distance myself at the start, and then maybe I'll warm to you after it.
You know what? Just a quick thing about Wimbledon, right? We had a rocky at the beginning of the season. It was very rocky. You know, I even thought to myself, look, we was gonna get relegated, but then we performed when it mattered.
Yeah, see, you're
often?
Do you know what? I do go to a lot of the home games, you see, but obviously because of the COVID and all that, it stopped all the games and things like that. But we've got a new stadium now, Plough Lane. So I went to see it. I think it was earlier on. Was it last week? I went to see the stadium on a Friday, and it's unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we played there because we got this at the end of the season, you see, and we played at a new stadium, and it's unbelievable. It's weird because there's like apartments all around the whole stadium. So like if you obviously live in one of them apartments, you're getting to see every game. Every home game. It's unbelievable. Like, and then when we were playing against you just have about 4 6'5" strikers, right? And you just knock it long, and it's literally like a boxing fight. Trying to defend the box like with flipping Piggott and all up top. It's a struggle.
Once you get your big world title shot, you'll be getting one of them apartments.
Oh yeah.
Can we say in there? Never mind.
That's the plan, yeah.
So Lerrone, let's take it right back to the start with you. So at the very beginning, how did you first get into boxing? And you know what were you getting up to as a youngster? Was it always boxing, or were you maybe playing football and things like that as well?
Well, my dad got me into boxing. He used to do a lot of Thai boxing when he was younger. And when I was a kid, I had a lot of energy. So my dad was like, you know what? Let's take you to the boxing gym, get a bit of self-defense and to burn off some of this energy as well. So I first started at the age of 6. And I went to a gym called Kingston Amateur Boxing Club. And I was trained by a man called Freddie Barr. And he taught me, he schooled me, he drilled me, footwork. I had to use, he taught me footwork before I can start punching. He was really old school. And so I started off there, had my first gym show there. And then as things started to progress and I started to improve, I met a man called Tim Ward. He used to come to Kingston Amateur Boxing Club, but he used to train Lenny Dawes at the time. And he was like, you know what, you got a lot of talent, so how about you try out Repton? So he spoke to my dad about it, and then my dad then took me to Repton, East London, and then that's it. From there, started winning national titles, winning boxing for England, and yeah.
So what did it come sort of natural for you though? Because we've had a lot on who sort of said like at the start it was just pure grit and sort of having to persevere, and you know what I mean, you're just getting 10 bells knocked out of you every night at the boxing club. And then other people have said they sort of picked it up very naturally. What was it for you?
I think it came very natural to me because it was weird because it was like a hobby. Because after school, it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would just go from school straight to the boxing gym. and it just became a routine. It was just something that I was just doing, and something that I enjoyed doing. And yeah, that's how I got into it. From there, it's like where I was always doing it, it just became a part of me, a part of my life, and I've never turned back since.
Yeah, you ended up having like a pretty extensive amateur sort of career, and you went you went with Ghana to the African Olympic qualifiers?
Yes.
See at that point in your career, were you sort of thinking that like I could make a career out of this, or was it still a hobby at that stage?
For me, I sort of taken it a little bit more serious, but it wasn't like, oh, I was never think when I was an amateur, I was never thinking, oh, I'm going to turn professional. I was always just focusing on what I had in front of me. Like same way I do now as a professional, I just focus on what I have in front of me, taking one step at a time, not rushing into anything. And but yeah, it was just for me, amateur boxing. I think when I started going into championships, I stopped seeing it as a hobby and I started seeing it more as a sport or something that I really wanted to achieve things at.
Yeah. What's the sort of process of if you're going to box for Ghana? Because if you came up in the English system, how does it work that that you would be able to then box for Ghana in the qualifiers? Do you have to like enter into their system then?
Yeah, so what happened was that I was winning all the national titles in Great Britain, and at that time I wanted to go into GB, but there was no box offs or anything like that. But I always wanted to compete, for Ghana, compete in the Olympics. So my mum's Ghanaian, so how the process worked is that I had to get dual nationality, and I had to get a passport, a Ghanaian passport, in order to represent Ghana. But in order for me to represent Ghana, I had to travel to Ghana and win the national titles out there.
Ah, geez.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
Oh, mate, it was a year. It took like half a year, 6 months. So I had to fight the top guys in each region.
So were you like, did you move out there?
Like, yeah. All these fellas out in Ghana, you're just rocking up, beating them all, and then going to the games on their behalf.
Oh, they weren't happy about that.
Yeah,
they weren't happy about it. Because at the time, it was me, Joshua Boatsi, and Isaac Dogbo. So we all went out there together, and there was Michael Bidiako as well, who went out there. His dad manages Richard Comey. But anyways, we went out there and we all boxed the champions there. We all boxed the champions there, and once I became number one, then they said, look, we want you to represent the country, and yeah, it went from there.
So in that year period, did you have to sort of move over there, or were you just flying over and beating them up and then just come up?
I was there the whole time.
You were there the whole time?
I was there the whole time, yeah. But because I'm half Ghanaian, my family there, but I was living there. I had my own flat there, and I was living there the whole time. So my apartment was right next to the gym. Yeah, I could literally jump to the gym. That is how close it was.
What was the lifestyle like in Ghana?
Pardon?
What was the lifestyle like in Ghana? Because that, like, for a young guy who's grew up in England, that's a complete difference. Like, obviously.
Yeah, it was a lot different, and I loved it. Ghana is a lovely country, lovely. And do you know what I learned is about the small things in life they appreciate that we don't. And I learned a lot of things there, and I love it. And obviously, I love going there.
Yeah. I'm sure they love you as well, except all their super middleweights.
It's mad, really, because when I went there, I remember me, Isaac, and Josh went there. We got to the airport, and outside the airport, there was people singing, there was people dancing. It's like we got a really nice sort of reception. You don't get that in England.
No chance. You obviously you've burst on the scene massively the past few years, but you actually turned pro in 2013. People may not know. What were them early years like? Because we have fighters on who speak about them, and obviously they have easier opponents, but they find they're the hardest times of their career. What were they like for you?
I turned professional relatively young. I felt like I accomplished what I could as an amateur, and I wanted to try something different. And I was trained by a man called Brian Lawrence. So I had a couple fights. I think I had 3 fights with Brian, and he was also my manager as well. We had some sort of managerial issues, which led me to stop boxing, and I wasn't active for, I think it was 2.5 years. And 2.5 years. But in that time period, I was sparring Billy Joe Saunders, George Groves, Tony Bellew. I was just gaining that experience. So I wasn't wasting time as such. Yeah. A very under the radar sort of thing I was doing, but I just didn't want to sit on the couch, on the sofa, but doing nothing. When my professional career did start, it was difficult because where I was such an extensive or decent amateur, I should say, I never got the big backing of a promoter. I was boxing on Sundays, Miranda Carter shows, getting paid £50 a fight. Jeez. Do you know what I mean? So It was different for me. So I started at the bottom. So when my sort of the managerial thing got sorted out after 2.5 years, I signed with Frank Warren, and I was active. That's when I started to sort of get a little bit more active, and I started fighting more often. I won the WBO European against a Scottish guy called Rhys Pagan, very tough man. Mm-hmm. And then boxing a 6-rounder, still waiting for the big opportunity, because there was opportunities where I was sort of mandatory for the Southern area, couldn't get the shot. I was chasing the English title, couldn't get the shot. Wanted to fight Vijender Singh for the Commonwealth title, couldn't get the shot. So I was just in no man's land. No one wanted to fight me, but I just stayed focused. I grafted in the gym, just kept learning. And I knew that when that opportunity came, I would take it with both hands. And that's when I ended up getting matched with Tommy Langford. Mm-hmm. And then I won the Commonwealth title. And then in the same year, beating Lennox Clark. Then I was British and Commonwealth champion in the same year. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's mad though, even hearing that you took 2.5 years off, because people must have had a lot of faith in you. Like, there's not a lot of people who could sort of take 2.5 years off and in that time be called in to spar the likes of Saunders, and then to come out of 2.5 years off and get signed straight away by Frank Warren. Do you know what I mean? Like, there must have been a lot of sort of hype sort of bubbling even when you're inactive. So
yeah, I kind of kept myself in the shop window, I think, but I don't, to be honest, when it comes to people believing me, I've always believed in myself, and I've always backed myself. And I don't think that people believed in me as much as I think they should have done, because let's be honest, no one really knew who Lerrone Richards was until, I boxed Tommy Langford. But then even then, who is Lerrone Richards? So I had to keep winning and keep, grafting in the gym, learning until my profile grew. Like, some people like my style, some people don't. So it's not like I have I take 5 punches to give one sort of fight, sort of style. So no one really it took a while for me to really be appreciated. And, I think that goes my last performance. I think that's when people started to really appreciate, what I do. And it's just the art of boxing.
That's it. And Lerrone, I was just about to touch on, obviously, inside 15 fights, you're the British, you're the Commonwealth, and now you're the European champion. That's a good feat in itself. And, 15 fights, it's incredible that you made there in such little time. But for you, which one of those meant the most? Is it the European title because it's the most recent, or was it the first one that you won?
What, in terms of?
Which one meant the most to you out of those titles that you've won?
Do you know what? They all meant something to me, because what I've gone through, throughout my professional career has been mad. And there was an interview that I'd done with Eddie Hearn just when I signed with him, and he said that I could have easily slipped through the net. A lot of people that if they went through what I've gone through, they probably wouldn't have boxed, would have just packed it in. But I just grafted. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. So every title that I've won, mate, it means the world to me, because I know how it felt, when I was at the bottom, because I generally started from the bottom.
What is it that separates you from the fighters that would have slipped through the net, though? Is it your mindset?
Do you know what? I don't know. I wouldn't say mindset, because it's like I don't know what's going on people's lives or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been people out there that's had a harder life than myself. But I would say that my family, myself obviously having a strong mind, but having a good family backing as well. My mum and dad, brothers, sisters, you know, my son, you know, very supportive, like over myself and my career. So it's having a good family behind me. I think that's helped me, and having faith.
And Daddy Hearn.
Yeah.
Our best mate. He's our best mate, Daddy Hearn. Do you know what I mean? What was that? What was the experience like for you? You've fought twice now during the sort of pandemic. A lot of people we've had on as well, they've sort of said they either hated it, having no crowd there. Some actually preferred it. They could hear the shots land. They could hear their instructions from the corner. How did you feel?
Do you know what? It didn't make any difference to me. Obviously, it's nice to have the fans there. The atmosphere is completely different. But then when you're in the ring and someone's throwing punches at you, you're not thinking about the crowd. You're not thinking about anything. You know, you're complete tunnel vision. It's good that now the fans are starting to come back. But in terms of like how I felt, you know, fighting without the fans, it didn't make any difference to me at all.
I didn't realize like the fans when Joe Piggott was elbowing me during the box for Wimbledon Rochdale, like, so I didn't really understand Joe. When you're hitting heat of the moment, lads, you don't really notice. Lerrone, what's the plan moving forward? Obviously, we've seen Lennox Clark wanting the rematch, but are you like sort of like looking forward now? Like you've done what you've done now, you've won the fight. Are you looking forward and hoping for more belts?
Yeah, do you know what? Like I said, there's something to learn at every level. You know, I've made that clear, and I won the British to Commonwealth. Now I'm the European champion. Now I want to sort of step up gradually. I don't want to be rushed into anything. I know my level. I know how good I am. I know how good I can be. I don't want to just fight for a world title. I want to win one, you know, when I do fight for it. So, you know, in terms of Sir Lennox Clark, obviously he won the British and Commonwealth title, you know, congratulations to him. And, but, you know, he's got a target on his back as well. And he's got a lot of people calling him out. And his response to them is, I'm looking up. I'm not looking below me. So why can't I have the same mentality?
Yeah. No,
for you, Lerrone, what's it like being around Dave Caldwell and in that environment, in that gym with some of your stablemates? Obviously the likes of Jordan Gill and stuff there, and you've got Hopey Price, but we had Dave on and he gave us a really good insight into every day in that gym. What's it like for you?
With Dave, getting it 9 times out of 10 isn't good enough. And it's not good enough. He wants perfection. And I'm a perfectionist. I like to get things right. Obviously, if Dave has to tell me constantly, you only have to do, he gets a bit annoyed, which is, you know, natural, but because boxing's a dangerous sport, you need to get things right. But overall, Dave's a very good coach, and, you know, he's not just a coach, he's a teacher.
The most impressive thing about Dave Caldwell's gym is that Wow Hydrate fridge stocked up every time I see it as Instagram story. Even though we're all wrapping it like, but but we'll get
the sponsors. Wow Hydrate.
We'll get you sorted, Lerrone.
That was smooth, Ron. That was smooth.
100%.
So when did you start training with Dave?
It must be a year now. Sort of a year. This time. Yeah. Me and Dave been working together.
And can you feel the difference? Like, do you feel you would have beat yourself, like your this time last year self, if you fought him now? Do you think you'd beat him?
Yeah, I would have beaten myself. Yeah. Do you know, 100%. Do you know, I'm always about development. And with Dave, obviously my IQ's improved a lot more. As you can see in my last fight, things are just starting to come together. I'm starting to try more things in fights, and not only do things in sparring, because a lot of people hear about sparring stories about me, but they're not really seeing, you know, what I can really do in a fight. And my last performance showed a little bit of it, and things are starting to come together with me and Dave now. Yeah.
So will we be seeing you fighting for a world title at some point at Wimbledon's new stadium? Is that the dream?
That's the dream. That is the dream, and the club backed me fully, and that's what that'll be
Will Joe Pickett be walking you out, or will it be Ryan?
Do they need a right back? If they need a right back,
Pickett's gone now. He's
he's left. If you need a right back, let me know. I'm a free agent. I'm a free agent.
Right, Lerrone, that's in your capable hands to sort that out.
I'll have a word.
Lerrone, obviously you're in one of the best divisions in the sport. So when you have someone like Canelo at your weight, who honestly looks like Superman at the moment, what's it like for you? Is that motivating, or is it slightly scary?
Do you know what? I don't put anyone on a pedestal. And I think a lot of these, these fighters these days, they put these guys on a pedestal. We're all human. We all have hands to throw, and we all have brains. So I like Canelo. So he's not Superman. Obviously, Canelo's vastly experienced. He's very good. We know that. But, making the right steps and not rushing into things and doing things the right way, the way it's supposed to be done. I believe in a few years, I'll be able to compete with them guys at the top.
Also, it's sort of having the likes of them superstars at your weight. It only makes the division itself better and people more engrossed in it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I think right now you look at Canelo and you'll say he's in a league of his own. Like, there's all different types of levels. So obviously you've got the European level I'm at now, and I think I'm beyond that now, but like I'm talking, and then there's contender level. So I'll fight the contenders, maybe someone who's been there like Rosado or like a Rocky Fielding, them sort of guys. And then after that is the world class fighters, like the Plants, you've got the Billy Joe Saunders, Daniel Jacobs, you've got those guys, and then you've got the elite, and then the elite's Canelo. So I do believe I can contend and I can compete and beat guys at a world level. I do know that I've got the skills to do that. But when it comes to experience is what I need. So that once I get that experience, and I'll be able to compete with anyone in the world.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, who would be your top 3 pound for pound?
It's hard that. My favorite fighter is Terence Crawford, but I can't put him number 1. You say Canelo. Canelo number 1.
Crawford for second is a good shout. Crawford, it's only his resume holds him back.
But you know what? Crawford for second, and then
Josh Taylor, maybe no.
I was thinking about throwing Josh Taylor in there, but I'm gonna throw Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I think a lot of people forget about Manny Pacquiao now because he's not as active.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's achieved a lot in the sport, hasn't he?
Yeah. Do you think he can compete with like Errol Spence?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. But do you know what? I think Errol Spence is going to win, but I think it's going to be a harder fight than what people think.
I love the way when you talk about Pacquiao, your face actually lights up.
I know.
You can tell how much you love him.
I was say that. Yeah, he loves him, doesn't he?
Yeah, I like Pacquiao. I really do. I enjoy his style. I like his style.
Yeah.
Will you be watching Logan Paul and Mayweather this weekend, or is it you're not interested?
Do you know? I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's on Sunday night though. It's not as attractive, like.
Yeah, I'm still watching it, mate.
You must work for BT, Coco.
Coco's been trying to sell this fight.
Saturday night, Sky Sports. Big fights on.
You know what? Anyone who says they're not going to watch it, you're going to watch it.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I won't be staying up till 4 a.m. to watch it on a Sunday. Like, if it was a Saturday, I would.
I think all these big fights. I think all these big fights happening at the minute, obviously in boxing, and then obviously the big stars coming over from like YouTube or outside of boxing coming over. It's actually propelling boxing to even getting more eyes on it. So like the likes of the UFC, you can see boxing actually overtaking the UFC again, because it sort of went boxing and the UFC sort of came, and then boxing has just completely like trumped them now again. Yeah. And I think that's all just added to it. And it, every weekend, like you're looking, is there a fight card on, and you're buzzing for it.
100%.
Yeah, I'd agree. With that. You know, a lot of people are funny about it, but as long as it's bringing eyes back on boxing, I'm not complaining. Not complaining at all.
Yeah, even like the old fighters, like the Mike Tyson, Roy Jones thing, it was a bit of a circus, but I mean, you've 1.8 million pay-per-view buys. Like, that's so many eyes on the sport.
Yeah, everyone's gonna watch it. Mad. It's crazy, but it's mad how, like, even exhibitions, it's just crazy, like, what's going on. Like, even, I think when Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell, he was talking about having an exhibition with Pacquiao. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So he put up a poster, remember, on his Instagram?
Yeah.
It wasn't even mad world we're living in. But yeah, before we let you go, Lerrone, you know, we have to ask you, can we get a rendition of Hot Cross Buns?
No problem. Ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns.
What a man.
That's our new theme tune. We're going to use that every single podcast at the end, right? As long as you're happy enough with that.
I'm easy, mate. I'm easy. No problem.
Lerrone, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You take care, yeah?
You're an absolute
top
legend,
man,
mate.
mate. Top
We'll
man.
get you
Up
on
to
again
Wimbledon.
down the line. Definitely.
See you later, mate. Take care.
Thanks.
Take care, man.
Bye-bye, mate. Bye-bye.
A massive thank you goes to That Prize Guy, who has also sponsored the podcast. That Prize Guy is a company who runs competitions daily on their Instagram and Facebook. They're based in Bangor in Northern Ireland, and they have a range of prizes from Range Rovers to Rolex watches and even 20 grand in cash. If you check out their website at thatprizeguy.co.uk, you can enter any of their competitions there. And if you use our code BRAWL20, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So thanks for the continued support, lads. It's much appreciated.
As always, we're sponsored by Manscaped, which produce the highest quality male grooming products to people all over the world. Father's Day's coming up, folks, so why not get your dad a razor, nose trimmer, etc. And if you use our discount code BRAWLBOXING, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So please, everyone, get all over it.
Well, guys, that's it for our episode with the man himself, Lerrone Richards. Please join us again next week when we're back with a very special guest and some more hot cross buns.
Hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. Hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. Hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns.